He takes the impossible and makes it possible. All those amazing images you see on the screen are created by people like Adam Sidwell, who is the founder of Future House Studios. Adam, nice to have you with us.
Really great to be here, Carlos. I appreciate being on the show.
So tell me a little bit about your dream as a young person. I mean, you grew up where Star Wars was born. It seemed like destiny, right?
It feels like it sometimes. You know, I grew up in Modesto, California, where George Lucas lived and grew up, and there was always this, I was always a huge Star Wars fan. I wanted to make worlds like he did. I thought it was amazing, and luckily one day I got to go work for him.
Wow.
It's been a stellar career and a lot of fun, and excited to have worked on Transformers movies, Tron, Pirates of the Caribbean, and all sorts of great franchises.
You just casually list them. It's an amazing accomplishment, and congratulations. So now you're the founder of Future House Studios, and you're immersing yourself in something called the Metaverse, which we're all starting to learn a little bit about that. What is it that you're doing there that really makes Future House Studios stand out?
Well, the Metaverse is such an emerging field, and it's very exciting because there's so much of it that is undefined yet, because people have ideas and concepts about what it might be, but it hasn't been built yet. And so step by step, we're building those things, and we're expanding through some of the thought leadership of what this Metaverse concept comes to be when it's real and people can actually use it and engage in it. So, you know, we've done a number of things for various companies where we've helped to build out their metaverses. And for me, the metaverse is anything that is a 3D world that you can enter into and you can influence and change the outcome and interact with.
I don't know what you just said, but I think that's what people are thinking, like, what is this? I understand it's sort of like it's a virtual world, but in so many ways it becomes reality to people, right? I mean, it really becomes part of who you are and how you operate, whether it's in business, in art, music, whatever it is, you can actually engage in it in the metaverse, right?
That's right. So imagine it this way. When you go and log onto a web page, you know, let's say you're logging onto YouTube and you're watching a video. You can watch that video and you can leave comments, you can like it, you can share it, and you come away thinking, oh, that was great. But it was mostly a passive experience. Now, imagine instead that you're going to that webpage, you're going to watch YouTube, but instead you're entering into the video, something like Roblox, for example. You get in there, you play, you win, you interact, you're there with others who you can interact with. You can turn to your friend and say, hey, this is really cool, isn't it? And they can nod and they can go and engage in this experience with you. That's really what the metaverse is. That's the idea, is that we are off on these adventures together in these worlds where we're doing a lot of the similar things that we do when we traverse web pages. We're doing work, we're doing shopping, we're doing commerce, we're doing entertainment.
Does your brain shut off at all at night? Because it seems to me that creative people like you who work so hard at coming up with ideas that really no one else would think about would have a hard time, you know, kind of shutting it all down because you're so creative.
Well, you know, that's actually a really good question, because it does happen. My brain keeps racing. And so oftentimes I just have to go read a novel to get myself to shut down so I can go to sleep. And that's a really good way to format your brain, is some of that storytelling. And our brains are wired to accept those stories and for them to suit us. Right now, I'm reading Moby Dick.
You know, the thing about I think that's really an interesting point, because there you are doing a single dimensional thing where you're reading a book and your brain does all the creative, right? You imagine what's going on inside the book, what's inside the fisherman's head, what's going on as he's, you know, doing what he's doing. And you have to create that in your head. In your world, you're taking all of that and putting it out there in you know, with your digital world and making that real. That to me is fascinating.
Oh, it's so much fun. And you do have to take all of those details that you would imagine when you're reading a story, and you have to design them. So we have designers who are iterating through, okay, well, what would that whale look like? What would that ship look like? Yeah. And they might go through 4 or 5 to 10 versions until you get it right. And then you have to think about things like, okay, well, what are the dimensions of the ship? If I was traversing the deck, where would my limits be? How wide would it be? Could I go underneath the deck? Would that make sense for, what happens when you are, hunting a whale? How do you see this from the crow's nest? Where do you eat? Where do you store the cargo? When you're building a metaverse, you actually have to work out all these details in very fine, with fine detail, because if you are interacting with them in a game sense or in a metaverse sense, then all of that has to have a logical consistency.
Yeah. Tell me what the future of Future House Studios is. What do you hope to accomplish? Where's it going next? Because you're going into dare to go where no man has gone before, right?
We're daring to go where no man has gone before. So, after we've done a lot of work with building various games, VR experiences for corporations. We just finished a Transformers game helping out that was in Dave & Buster's across the country. I was able to art direct that game and manage building a lot of the assets in the Transformers, which was a lot of fun. We're working on mobile games for various companies. What I'd love to see is the world turn into an adventure game where, imagine Ready Player One, but it's not in a virtual reality headset separate from our world, but it's integrated into our world. You're walking down the street and you see a dragon. You're walking into a room and there's a treasure. There's so many possibilities for us to create this spatial computing layer of fun and adventure and information over the real world. I can't wait until we've got those perfect AR glasses that you can wear and you can see things seamlessly, and it's just as easy to use as typing out a text message on your phone. That's when the future will really pivot for all of us.
Well, I can't wait to see that. Adam Sidwell, the founder of Future House Studios, has been our guest, and you're saying things that seem a little bit crazy, but I'm sure they thought George Lucas was a little nuts too when he said, I'm going to build a virtual world and call it Star Wars. So Adam, congratulations on the success of Future House Studios. I wish you well and appreciate so much you being with us today.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure being on the show.